Welcome, everyone. You made it. You're here. My name is Leanne Reagan, and you made it here for the roundtable. It's the first one of 2025. We're in our just past our 12th year, so we're starting our 13th year of roundtables. So welcome Anne and Clarissa and Esty and Fatuma, Helen, Maria, Monique, Philippa, Sifwe, Anand. And by the way, if I mispronounce your name, feel free to put the phonetic spelling in the chat or to DM me. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I love all of the roundtables that we do, but this one is a particular favorite because it means that you're open to learning and that learning is a focus for you. So we're going to look at why a learning plan is so important. You'll get a worksheet to fill in that will make it really, really, really easy for you to customize and make it fit you specifically. I'll teach you my S.A.K.E tool so you can really dig into your learning for 2025 based on that tool. We'll look at how to customize it. And if you are a UN staff, know that this counts towards your professional development. So your annual professional development, if you wish. And as members, because if you weren't already a member, you became a member when you joined today's roundtable, you get access to 12 plus years of resources. So let's dig in a couple things, actually, before we start with the topic of learning plans. I really admire that you chose to spend time together today. You cleared your calendar. And what I would really ask of you is to give yourself the gift of presence. So just for a couple of moments, feel free to close your eyes. If you're not comfortable closing your eyes, you can just let your gaze soften. And imagine that you have a cup in front of you, a large cup. And inside this cup, it's filled with all of the things on your to-do list, all the big things, all the little things, all of those things are inside that cup. And once you've got that picture in front of you, imagine that there is a hole in the bottom of that cup and it is temporarily emptying. So temporarily, all of your to-do items, all of the things that might be pulling at your attention are just disappearing, right? They are leaving that cup. And slowly, 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 that cup is emptying until it is completely empty. So all of your to-dos, all of the things that are tugging on your attention have left the cup, so to speak. And now imagine filling that cup up. By the way, if you're just joining us, we're just doing a quiet, quick visualization, imagining all of our to-dos leaving the room for the moment. And now imagine that cup filling up with your presence, being focused, being present. You decided that this time was valuable for yourself, so really give yourself the gift of presence. And when you're ready, you can take another deep breath and open your eyes and rejoin us for the roundtable on how to design a customized learning plan for yourself. So welcome once again. Let me know in the chat, how many roundtables have you attended? Have you been to a bunch? If this is your first, let me know in the chat. How many roundtables have you attended? Oh, hi, Anant, it's your first one. Oh, and same with Sagar. Oh, lovely, lovely. Of course, it's your second. Oh, and it's maybe your 10th. Oh, lovely. Maria, it's your first. Zipway, your first. Lovely. SA, it's your fourth. Hi, Yuko. Oh, lovely to have you here. Your first. Okay. Whether it's your first or more than your 10th, you are particularly and especially welcome here. My name is Leanne Reagan, And I would love to give you the option for how I introduce myself. So each of these items from 1 to 5 have just a little short story behind them. So feel free to put a number 1 through 5 in the chat. And the first two numbers that I see are the stories, the introductory stories that I will tell you. So feel free to put a number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Okay, they're coming in hot here. Oh, and Miriam and Marcia are just joining us. Uh, okay, so the first one, so Essie says 4, and oh, maybe that was sorry, that was the number of roundtables. Okay, Clarissa says 3 and 2. Okay, so push-ups. Oh my goodness. So I once took a workshop. It was like a coaching workshop, like physical, like sports coaching, which was really, really, really outside my comfort zone. I was really pushing myself. And the coach who was teaching it, there was a rule in the class that if you got caught with your hands in your pockets, you had to do 10 push-ups in front of everyone. And there was maybe like 100 participants in the class. So it was just a horrible weekend for me. All I could think about all weekend was wear your hands, wear your hands. Don't put your hands in your pockets. Wear your hands, wear your hands. So these are some true tales of learning. So that's not a good example. And it really made me focus on how the atmosphere has to be comfortable in order for people to. Okay, and then I think the next one was number 2. So put no, sorry, I did number 2. So 3, magic wand. So if you know me at all, I am absolutely passionate about learning. And I think of it a bit like a magic wand. I think when people put themselves in a position to learn, it means being vulnerable, right? You're admitting that you don't know something. And that's a really special place. And I really think that learning, when it's done well, is a bit of a magic wand and is really the solution to all of our social pressing problems, all of the conflict around the world, all of the challenges that we face. So that's a little bit about me. I tend to focus on these 3 areas. So I work with changemaker teams, mostly UN teams, to do team building using conflict resolution, collaboration, change management, creativity, etc. I also am a little bit obsessed with tech tools. So I do a lot of training around tech tools. And then I also teach folks how to design and deliver really great training. So that's a bit about me. Over to you. I really want this time to be really helpful and useful for you. So, a couple of suggestions. There's a lot of wisdom in the room. So, please, please, please participate. You can send me a DM. You can put an item in the chat there. Also, in between roundtables, we have a LinkedIn group and a Facebook group. So feel free, I'll just put this in the chat here. And by the way, if future you is watching the video, all of the links will be below the video there. And then please, if you find value in the roundtable, please share the link to join. So I'm just putting that in the chat there. And also, each roundtable, I announce, based on the people that gave feedback on the feedback survey, I announce a winner of my Ban Boring Online Meetings course. So I'll talk about that at the end of the workshop today. And then also, I really look at ways for you to help to support you in remembering what you're learning. So next week, the workbook will come to you, the recordings, the audio recording, video recording, etc. However, members said, "Oh, Leanne, we love that, but we want to get stuff sooner." So the second the roundtable ends, poof, talk about magic wands. The PowerPoint will be in your inbox, so watch for that there. Okay, and then I'm sure that you have lots of different ways to help you remember what you learn, but I also have this tool. So if you wish, you can use this HARP worksheet. Once you download it, it becomes editable, and you can record your highlights from today, the actions you want to take, the resources that you want to remember, etc. So a couple of ways, suggestions to make this as useful as possible for you. Okay, over to you. I'd love on the count of three, if everyone can unmute on the count of three and say good morning, good evening, good afternoon in whatever language you wish, in whatever time zone you're in. So feel free to unmute everybody. Unmute, unmute, unmute.
Good
Great.
afternoon.
Okay, and on the
Good
count of three, in
morning.
whatever language, 1, 2, 3, go.
Good
Good
morning.
gozaimasu.
Nice. Very nice. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, however, wherever this finds you. Let me know in the chat, where are you? Let me know in the chat, where does this find you? Where in the world are you? India, Zimbabwe, Nairobi, Kenya, South Africa. Oh, lovely. Philippines, Tanzania, Senegal, Kenya. Oh, fantastic. Oh, thanks again. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. Mozambique, yeah, wherever this finds you. I'd love to know what is something that you have learned lately? So it can be anything. What's something that you've learned lately? So, a little confession time. I spent a very anxious hour, or about half an hour. Zoom did some updates and it wasn't working on my platform. So, I was learning before this meeting started how to get Zoom working again. So, that's one thing I've learned lately. But what's something you've learned lately? Can be anything. How to negotiate with your teenager, some tech tool, proofreading. Oh, hi, Jane. Nice to have you here. So some proofreading skills, those are very good skills to have, I'm sure. Anyone else? What's something you've learned lately? Providing feedback to team members. Nice, Anant, nice. Cigar says, how important enjoying being in my home is versus working on my home. Oh, I love that. That's very smart. Crocheting, says Maria. Oh, nice. How to say no. Oh, that's a powerful thing to learn, Miriam. Irene says, co-creating, designing a course using generative AI tools. Oh, in a few hours. Awesome. I'm designing an AI course for Habitat. So excited to see that. Essie says, how to use social media for my work. Woof. Yuko, hi Yuko, a kind of mongoose that lives in Kenya that I've never seen in my life before. Oh, nice. Marcia says digital marketing skills. Oh, so helpful. Wambui, hi Wambui says setting boundaries, still learning. Yeah, a lot of these are ongoing for sure. And Philippa says using percentage rule for my finances. Oh, that sounds interesting. And when an old challenge reoccurs, you are a different person and can do something different. Oh, wise words. What a sage. And Fatuma says, working with IFIs. Oh, if you feel comfortable, Fatuma, no pressure, but if you feel comfortable, let us know what IFIs are. Maybe some other people know, but I'm not sure. Okay, so as you think about your learning history, I really want to celebrate you, right? If you think about when you were first born, right? If you weren't a learning rock star, you wouldn't know how to dress, how to walk, or be mobile, however your level of mobility is, how to talk, how to communicate, all of those things you had to learn. So this is really celebrating you and the learning rock star that you are. You may not feel like it, but I'm convinced you're a learning rock star. Oh, Fatuma saying international financial institutions. Okay, good for you. And I would love to, as we go forward with this, creating this plan for you, what is not learning? Learning is not boring lectures, right? Being on the end of a very boring lecture is not only not helpful, but we know that we don't remember lectures. It's neuroscience tells us that. And it's not something that happens by accident, right? Sometimes we learn things the hard way, but really great learning plans being proactive, really take some focus on that. It's also not, learning shouldn't be something that makes you feel embarrassed. So I did explain that story of when, if you got caught with your hands in your pockets, you had to do 10 push-ups. I can still remember the feeling of just, I didn't know if I could do 10 push-ups, and I didn't certainly did not want to do them in front of 100 people. So learning should feel energizing and intriguing and interesting and fit you. It's also ideally something that should surprise and delight and really resonate with you. So I'm just going to stop the share here, and I'm going to go on to a new screen. This is a really fun little tool here. I don't know, you can let me know if you've seen it before. So let me know, can you see my screen there? It should say the emotions recognized in vocal bursts. Just confirm that you can see that.
Yes.
Great. Okay. So a lot of us don't necessarily good language when it comes to emotions. So let me know in the chat, what's an emotion that you would like to hear a sound of? So you can see there's interest, confusion, surprise, contempt. Okay, interest. Clarissa says interest. So when I scroll my thing, okay, so that's interest. We'll do one more. What other emotion would you like to hear an example of? And by the way, I see elation okay, now where is elation? Sometimes it takes me a second to find it. Elation, oh, there it is. Okay, okay. Here's elation. Okay, so the reason why I put that in there oh, and by the way, if that's of interest to you, that resource, know that all the resources that I use will be in the workbook. So you'll get access to all of these different resources. Okay, just confirm that we're back on the PowerPoint deck. Just confirm that you can see that. And in case you're interested right now, here is that link. Great, thanks, Wambui. Okay, so Brene Brown, who you may or may not have heard of, did this really interesting study where she says, we like to think of ourselves as logical human beings who are sometimes emotional, but the research shows that we are thoroughly emotional beings who are sometimes logical. And most of us don't have a good emotional vocabulary. So you can kind of play around with that. And the underlying message here is learning ideally should be a positive experience. Ideally, it should surprise, delight, resonate, etc. Irene saying what I've just shared reminds me of the radio garden. Oh, Irene, I don't know that. So let me know if you're comfortable sharing in the chat. I don't know what the radio garden is. Also, ideally, learning is something that should lead to social change, right? A lot of you I know are UN staff or other kinds of change makers, and it is such a powerful, powerful force for social change. Also, I really believe that the content might be hard. So learning about international financial institutions, for example, might be hard, but the learning process shouldn't be. As you know, we should try to remove those barriers so that people can actually focus on the learning. So in order to do all of that, this is our roadmap that I've put together. And just give me a thumbs up. Are you ready to dive in? We've talked about why a learning plan is so important here. And are you ready to get a copy of a worksheet so you can start designing your own learning plan? Great. Okay. Okay, so know that your learning worksheet, your learning plan worksheet is right here. And by the way, two things. Once you download it, it will become editable. And also give yourself grace. You almost certainly won't have time to complete the entire worksheet during our time together today, but you will have all the information in order to fill it in yourself. So we'll dive into it in just a second, but I also wanted to make a distinction. Someone asked about this earlier. So the difference between a learning plan and professional or personal development is professional and personal development really usually just focus on the content. So I want to learn crocheting or I want to learn Excel. And they don't really look at how best can you learn that and what will motivate you to learn that, etc. So a learning plan is much bigger than simply looking at what you want to learn. Okay, so that link that I gave you, there's two sides to it. And again, it becomes editable, but you have to download it first. So we're going to go through each of these sections. So that's one page. This is another page. And we'll go through the sections. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. If you have resources to add, please add them in the chat. Again, there's lots and lots of wisdom in this group, so please add as you wish. Okay, so one of the really great things about learning plans is it gives you a vision, right? It gives you an overarching plan, an overarching vision. So I'm going to invite you to create a bit of a vision. So we're going to do a short guided visualization, and then I'll come back and show you what parts of the learning plan this relates to. So I'm just going to play some music quietly here. Okay. Let me know, can you hear the music there? Oh, Sifwa is asking kindly, is the learning plan for professional career development or self-development? Great question. It can be for either or both. It's your choice. You can use it for professional development. You can use it for personal development. You can use it for both. So it's as you wish, whatever is motivating you. Okay, so just take a quick moment here. If you have your legs crossed, you may wish to uncross them. And just take a couple of deep breaths in and out. And in and out. You may wish to close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing that. You to imagine walking in a beautiful forest. Temperature is perfect. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. You are relaxed and safe and comfortable. And as you're walking along, you notice an old stone bridge up ahead. Moss, it's old, it's beautiful, it's safe and sturdy. And as you approach this bridge, you start to walk over it. And you notice that there is an old wooden box, an old carved wooden box. And you open this box, and inside are 3 pieces of paper. And the top piece of paper in big bold letters says 10 years. And it's asking you how you'd like to feel about your learning 10 years from now. In 2035, you're transported 10 years into the future, and you're thinking, you're focusing how you feel about your learning. So take a moment to answer that question. How are you feeling? What are you thinking about your learning in 2035? Attention to the second piece of paper. The first one said 10 years. First piece of paper. Second piece of paper imagine yourself 10 months from now. So roughly November 2025. And how are you feeling? What are you thinking about your learning? So November of this year, 10 months from now. How are you feeling and what are you thinking about your learning? Okay, and now turn your attention to the last piece of paper and inside that box, and it says 10 minutes. So imagine your future self 10 minutes from now, that short amount of time, and how are you feeling and what are you thinking about your learning 10 minutes from now? Okay, and when you're ready, bring your attention back to wherever you are. You can feel the floor beneath your feet. You can feel the chair that you're sitting on. And you can open your eyes if they're closed. And congratulations, you just did a very short guided visualization about your vision. So when we're looking at this worksheet, you can look at section 2. So, and I'd love to know, what were some words, if you know, only if you're comfortable sharing, what came to mind about your visions for your learning? So you can share that in the chat there. And I know for some folks, visualization's hard. They don't necessarily see anything, so it can be, you know, a feeling. But one of the things you can do to complete this workshop is, or this worksheet rather, is to look at your vision. Oh, Sagar says organization, literally tools. Oh, supportive tools. Oh, Sagar, I did a whole roundtable. I'm just turning to the side to make a note so I don't forget. In the follow-up resources, I did a whole roundtable on tech tools for learning. So I'll include that in the workbook. Yeah, that's a big part of learning, is getting organized. Absolutely. Claudia, ready to commit. Yay. Awesome. There's a whole section on motivation too that we'll come to. That hopefully will help you sustain that. Being disciplined, Claudia. Yes, yes, nice. Okay. Clarissa says, I was thinking more of where I'd like to be and what I need to learn to get there. Nice. Yeah, there's no way that you can do this wrong, right? But it's asking you to kind of get out of yourself in the here and now and really kind of envision that learning future that you want. By the way, just going backwards, section number 1 is for notes and doodling. So you can put whatever you wish there. And then section 2 is your vision. Okay, so learning plans really help get clear. They help create that bridge between now and the future that you wish. They also really help you get strategic and proactive about your goals. So I'm going to play this little video here. Let me know, just confirm that you can hear it.
Yep.
Whoa, that's not good.
Oh, I don't need this. I'm already late.
Somebody will come. Anybody out there?
Do you have a phone?
No.
Folks, just give me a thumbs up if you can
Sorry.
hear the video, okay?
Somebody! Hello? There are 2 people stuck on an escalator and we need help. Now, would somebody please do something? I don't believe this. You gotta be kidding me.
I'm gonna cry.
Well, there's nothing else left to do, is there?
Okay, so I love this video because it's so quirky, right? They are clearly not being strategic, right? And they certainly don't have any goals. However, it's really funny, when you're looking at someone else, but can anyone relate when you are in the midst of something, you're stressed, you're overworked, you're tired, you're overwhelmed, maybe you're embarrassed, you're ashamed, there's no money, there's no resources, and you just lose perspective, right? You just lose perspective. Can anybody relate to that? Because again, big capital letters, yes. And it's really funny when you see other people doing it, but when it happens to you, it's not so funny. So in sections 3 and 4, so again, once you download this, I know a couple people have just joined recently. And by the way, if you just have joined recently, this is the worksheet here that we're talking about. And once you download it, it becomes editable. So sections 3 and 4 are about your goals. The goals are a bit broader. So for example, one of my goals this year is I really want to dig into knowing a lot more about pre-colonial education methods. So traditional Indigenous educational methods. So that's a goal of mine. And then the skills and knowledge would be much more specific. So I want to look at traditions in Asia and in Latin America. And I want to gain some skills and knowledge about how to apply those original amazing techniques and incorporate that into my own work. So if you wish, feel free to share. I'm just typing this in the thing as well. If you wish, feel free to share an example goal and skills and knowledge. Right, so we've started high up on that mountain with our vision, then we're coming down a little bit, getting a bit more specific with the goals, and then even more specific with the skills and knowledge. So let me know if there's any example that you don't have to share. If you're comfortable sharing, feel free. While you're thinking about that, ideally the learning plans help you stretch, right? So I love this little comment here about how to be a square, right? And then turning the square into a diamond. It's so lovely. So as you're thinking about your goals, it's good for them to be specific, the SMART goals, specific, measurable, accurate, time-bound, etc. And it's really great if you can include a stretch goal in there. So at least one goal that, this is going to be a little harder to reach. It's not a guaranteed. Let me know any questions so far. So we've gone through kind of the doodle part on the other side of the sheet, section 1, the vision, section 2, your goals, and ideally include a stretch goal, and then the skills and knowledge that relate to that goal. Any questions so far before I continue? Clarissa saying a goal would be to run an agriturismo and in a way be self-sufficient. The skills related are things like knowing how to run a small business, hospitality, understanding how to take care of an olive grove, etc. Oh, Clarissa, that sounds amazing. I haven't heard that term before, agriturismo. I'm assuming that's a combination of agricultural and tourism. That sounds incredible. Let us know when you get that up and running. You might have some clients. Oh, actually, so someone is signed in as a Zoom user. I forgot to mention actually two things. One is if you are a UN staff, you don't have to be a UN staff to be here, but if you are and you want to get credit for your professional development, make sure your screen name is a name that we would recognize. If you don't need this to count towards your UN professional development. Don't worry about your screen name, but do change your screen name if you do. And then also I usually mention you can also close caption this. And if English is an additional language for you, you can change the language. I think there's like 35 languages to pick from. So feel free if you wish to turn on the closed captions. And by the way, only you will see that. So we can have lots of different languages going here. Okay. Clarissa's saying exactly in Italy. Yes, yes, and she'll invite. Great. Maria's saying keep fit and have a clean diet. Work on my time management for school and the organizations I've co-founded. Fabulous. Oh, that's great. Thank you for sharing, Maria. Okay. Okay, so think about your goals, think about your skills and knowledge that all nest together. And so far, this is sounding pretty much like personal development plan or professional development plan, but this is where we start to diverge, and this is where it starts to where the difference is. So one of the things about learning plans is that it helps you realize that you're not alone, right? That you're not alone. So on section number 5, think about some key people, and these can be key people maybe that you want to learn from, or key people that you want to get support from or help motivate you. And has anybody heard of Lunch Club? This is an amazing example. Has anybody heard of the Lunch Club, or are you a member? Now, once I explain it, pay attention to your reaction, because this is not for everybody. Some people might go, yeah, this is the last thing I'd want to do, not interested at all. And other people are like, oh, I want to sign up now. And this is how we customize it, right? So make sure, that this is working for you. But Lunch Club is a free online platform that's like LinkedIn, except it's live. So you register, you create a profile, and you say, these are my skills, these are my areas, and this is what I want to learn. And then they match you up with real human beings that you can meet once a month, once a day, however you want. So I've done it a number of times, and some people that the algorithm has matched me with, I was like, oh, I'm not sure why we got matched. Others are like, we are still in touch. It's an amazing platform if that appeals to you. The Zoom user is saying, so keep on learning, keep on shining. Absolutely, right? Learning is, like I said at the beginning, key to everything, I think. Okay, any examples of key people? It might be a coach, it might be a colleague, supervisor, might be your partner in life, might be people on Lunch Club. But think about your key people. Who can really help you, support you, help keep you accountable in your learning plan? Okay. The next section is all about your resilience, your agility, and your flexibility. And I love this. Has anybody read Atomic Habits by James Clear? If you are looking at trying to motivate yourself, create good habits and break bad habits, it is the best book on the market about habits. And what that speaks to is section 6. So habits and systems. And some of you kind of have mentioned this in a roundabout way, like getting organized. So this is a place to think about what kinds of habits and systems do you need to put in place to help you be successful with this learning plan. So tools like Digo. So if you're looking at, you need to kind of organize a bunch of resources, Digo is a phenomenal tool. It's free. It's a social bookmarking site. And every roundtable I do, you get a Digo link to all the resources that went into that roundtable. So you'll get an example a little later in our workshop today. You can also, sometimes it's about mindset, right? Carol Dweck's work on growth mindset and fixed mindset. So if you consider one of the things that helps me with learning is I think about it as I'm experimenting. I'm doing these grand experiments, right? So that helps me. Also, you may wish, in terms of habits, think about how you bookend your day. Can you start your day with a little piece of learning and or end your day with a little piece of learning? There's a wonderful book called Miracle Morning, and it's all about a format for how to start your day in a very healthy way. And I've been doing it now for a couple months, and you can do it in different formats, but I do the traditional one, which is 10 minutes of meditation, a few minutes of affirmations and visualization, 10 minutes of yoga. I use my Apple Watch, so I do 10 minutes of yoga. Then I do 10 minutes of reading and 10 minutes of journaling. So at a minimum, I'm getting in 10 minutes of learning a day because I'm reading. Oh, Sifway's saying, what's the name of the website similar to LinkedIn? It's called Lunch Club. So it's lunchclub.com. So it's like LinkedIn, but on steroids. It's live. So maybe that's part of your habit, your system, and also your key people. So if we're saying also, is there a way to connect with people who are in this meeting, say a WhatsApp group? Oh, great question. So yes and no. I don't, so the roundtable's been running for 12 plus years now, and I do not share personal information. That was a very steadfast rule right from the beginning. However, we have a LinkedIn group and we have a Facebook group. So if someone is able to, please feel free to copy that from earlier in the chat and repost that. Oh, and someone's just DM'd me about the radio garden. Oh, not wanting to distract others. They uh, put it in a DM. Oh, it sounds amazing. So I won't say the person's name because if someone's DMs me, I don't repeat the name, but this is great information. It's not a distraction at all. So there's that information that person kindly shared. Oh, thank you, Maria. Yeah, so Sifway, there is the link to join the LinkedIn group, and it's private. So once you ask to join, then I'll approve you. And there's also the link for the Learning and Development Roundtable Facebook group. Okay, so we are roughly halfway. So I just wanted to take a pause, take a breath. We're about halfway through, and just see how you're feeling, how you're doing, if there's any questions right now. I'm also going to share this information with you. So I'll put this in the chat. This is a labor of love for me. There's no charge for these roundtables. So please, if you find value, I would love, love, love for you to share that membership link, which I just put in the chat. And also our next roundtable is February 20th. And it's all about how to have those difficult conversations that you're dreading. And also, special announcement, one of the things I've had such a steep learning curve on this, I am going to be launching a brand new membership program. It will be a paid membership program for people who are wanting to learn how to teach and how to design and deliver really great teaching. So if you're interested in the membership program for training trainers, please email me and I'll put you on the list to get more information. So I'm just putting this in the chat here. Thanks, Deborah. That's great. And Irene, thanks for the LinkedIn link. I was wondering why I was not getting notifications from Learning. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So you should when you sign up for any roundtable, you automatically become a member, and you should be getting emails at least once a week. So I send the invitations, I send the workbook. So if you're not getting those emails, then please email me and I'll see what's going on from our end. Because you automatically should be signed up. Okay, any questions so far before we dig into the other half of the sheet? Any questions, any resources to add? Oh, by the way, the roundtable membership link, I put it in the chat. You can also use that QR code as well. Okay. Okay, well, if you think of a question later on, you can always jump in. No worries. Okay, so let's continue with the sheet here. Does anybody recognize this gentleman? Does anybody know his name? We are going to talk about using a learning plan to help you get and stay motivated. Because it's one thing to create a plan. Yes, Marcia. Yes, Claudia. It's Simon Sinek. Yes, absolutely. And it's one thing to create a plan. It's a whole other thing to actually make that plan come to life. So I'm just going to play this quick clip. Some of you may have seen it.
The way that Phil Knight used to talk about Nike, I don't know if you've ever heard the story. He was speaking at a large conference and he stood up and he said to the audience, if any of you have ever run for exercise, can you please stand up? Most of the room stood up. He said, if you run at least once a week, please keep standing, everybody else sit down. Most of the room sits down. He says, if you run on, twice a week, please keep standing. He says, if you run 3 times a week, rain or shine, regardless of the weather or the temperature, please keep standing. There's now a smattering of people in the room. And he looks out at them and he says, the next time you're out there before the sun is up, it's dark, it's cold, and it's wet, and you're running by yourself, we're the ones standing under the lamppost cheering you on. That's how he described Nike. And in an instant, you understand what just do it means. It has nothing to do with winning. It has everything to do with trying. It has everything with doing. And his story, his ability, his narrative captured that so exquisitely. And when Nike's at their best, they celebrate the ones who do, not the ones who win.
No matter how many times, let me know in the chat. Have you seen that video before? And no matter how many times I see it, I get goosebumps, right? We're the ones under the lamppost cheering you on. I love that, right? So, if our goal is to learn something instead of winning at something, it's very different, right? And I love the idea here, be your own and other people's cheerleaders, right? So good. It's so, so good. Yeah, Helen. Yeah, true. So let's turn over. Oh, hang on, sorry. Yeah, so under the habits and systems there, you can think about your motivation, right? That's a key piece there. Sorry, this should be down here. It's in the wrong place. So the next section, section 7, and you'll notice that there's a hyperlink there. And that's a survey that I've used now with, I don't know, probably a couple thousand people. And it measures what your motivation style is, right? What is your motivation style? And you can take that survey. It's a clickable link from the worksheet. And you can, we'll talk about it more in a second, but you can determine which of the 6 styles is your motivation style. But before we talk about that, has anyone seen this will and skill matrix? This is another way. These are some tips for getting motivated. I love this. I share this with clients all the time, especially managers. If managers are having issues with their team. Is this familiar to you? The idea here is that we've got these skills, right? And then we've got our will. So another word for will is motivation, right? So when you're trying to learn something, you may wish to think about, and you're struggling, right? You're having issues getting motivated. You may wish to think about what quadrant are you in? So you don't have that skill and you're not motivated. So that's the bottom left-hand quadrant. So that's unwilling and unable. So you need to learn and add in a whole bunch of motivation there. Or do you know how to do this thing and you want to learn more about it, but you're having trouble motivating yourself? Then to point that laser on motivation, right? If that's the issue. Then we've got the lower right-hand quadrant. you know how to do, you're very willing, you're very motivated, but you don't know how to do something, then you focus solely on the learning, right? And then the top one is you are on fire. You know the skill, whatever, and you're just looking to deepen it, and you're super motivated. So think of this as a bit of a direction pointer, right? If you need to focus on your motivation. Also, some tips for getting motivated: give yourself grace, right? There is a whole bunch of vulnerability in saying to yourself, and if you're in a social setting, saying to other people, I don't know how to do this. I don't understand. This doesn't make sense to me. That's a real place of vulnerability. And as I mentioned before, if you think of yourself as a bit of a scientist doing experiments, I find that can really help with that sense of vulnerability if that's getting a little bit overwhelming to you. Okay, back to those 6 tips, those 6 styles rather. You can access the survey here, put it in the chat. And if future you is watching this video, all the links will be down below. If you're getting a little overwhelmed about all the links, everything is going to come to you on Monday. Yeah, usually Monday, a workbook with everything in one place. So if you're getting distracted by the links, don't worry, you'll have access to everything. So this is I do this with teams all the time, and it's so much fun. So you take the survey and it will tell you which of these 6 styles is your typical motivation style. Are you achievement oriented, power oriented, affiliation, autonomy, external, or future? I'm not going to go into each of them right now in specifics, but there is a link to a blog post that describes it in more detail. And I also did this summary here too. So to help you with motivation, to help you with accountability, if you're achievement motivated, that means I want to get it done, the goals, the objectives, I want to reach my goal, then gamifying it, having some way to measure your progress, having checklists, oh, that's a sweet spot for that style. If you're motivated by power, and by the way, each of these styles have a positive side and a negative side. And you may be motivated by more than one. You might have a tie on the survey. So power means leadership. So you might motivate yourself by leading a group, by sharing your learning, by being a mentor. If you're motivated by affiliation, that means social, right? So get a learning partner, get a mentor, join lunchclub.com. That's that group that I talked about. Join the Facebook group or the LinkedIn Learning and Development group that we mentioned, right? Something with other people. If you are motivated by autonomy, then that's you want to do things on your own. Don't tell me what to do. I'm going to figure it out. So you might wish to go to your secondary style, and you can pull from that in terms of how to motivate yourself. If you're motivated external, then treat yourself. If you know, you've got a particular learning goal, set if I do this particular thing, if I finish this workshop, if I finish this course, then I'm going to go play basketball with friends, or I'm going to go to the spa, or whatever it is. Get a certificate. A lot of times that can motivate people if you take a workshop in order to get that certificate, and give yourself a little gift. And then if you are motivated by the future, so if you are working on climate change, gender-based violence, a lot of things that people in the roundtable, a lot of folks in the roundtable here tend to be motivated by the future. Follow inspirational people who are working on the same subject matter. Do affirmations and measure your progress. Okay, let me pause there because I know that's a lot of information about that tool. You do have the link to the survey, and you do have a link to the blog post if you want to follow up with that. But let me just pause. Any questions there? Anything not making sense so far? We're under the motivation section. So this part here, right? There's that hyperlink on the worksheet itself, which will take you to the survey. And then we've gone through, because this tends to be a really big area for folks, I've given you some tips for staying motivated. So that will and skill matrix, Giving yourself grace, realizing that there's vulnerability in this, knowing what motivates you, making a plan according to what motivates you. And then there's also, you can search for every Monday, I think it is, I do a motivation tip. So you can search my LinkedIn posts and my Twitter or my X feed or the Learning and Development Roundtable Facebook group and the LinkedIn group for the hashtag motivation and inspiration. I try to put out a post, I think it's every Monday motivation. Okay. Okay, so give me a thumbs up if you are ready to go to the next section. You are making progress. We've done well over half of the worksheet. Okay, great. Okay, so then the next section, oh, I can see a DM here. Oh, someone is heading off to another meeting, no worries. A reminder, at the bottom of the hour, the PowerPoint will be in your inbox. And on Monday, you will get the video recording, the audio recording, all the resources, a workbook, everything will come to you on Monday. Okay, so I have a question for you, which is what is your preferred way of learning? So let me know in the chat. There's lots of different ways to learn something. So how do you like to learn? What is your go-to? This is a way that is easy and convenient. This works for me. This removes roadblocks for learning, and I can focus on the learning. Theory and insight. Oh, nice, Anne. Okay. And how do you find those theories? And how do you get to that insight if you feel comfortable expanding, Anne? Where do you get those theories from? So there's tons of different ways to learn. What are some people's, so we're having a question. If the leader is autocratic leader, going back to the power. Oh, I think you're mentioning this power piece. That's an interesting question. If it's related to your learning, if your leader is autocratic, then you may wish to find to supplement that with a different way of learning. Okay, we've got some great suggestions coming in here. Reading and lectures. Okay, great. Apprenticeships. Sagra's saying, how do I work with the secondary motivation if autonomy is a theme? Oh, so meaning if autonomy is your first, okay, let me just go back here quickly. If autonomy is your first motivation style, the survey will tell you what comes in second. So I would combine it with the secondary style. The big thing with autonomy is you can probably use the power ones, the leadership ones, because autonomy doesn't like to be told what to do, right? If someone comes up with autonomy as their number one, they're not going to learn well if they're being micromanaged. Do this, then you do this, then you do this, then there's no room for them to do their own thing. So let me know if that helps. Okay. Fatima saying when it's interactive, learning by doing. Yeah. So I think this is one of the key parts of the most important parts of the learning plan is to be really clear on how you like to learn, because there's lots and lots of different ways. You're welcome, Sakara. So I have a edible checklist here for you. And here are some examples, because the newest edition, so I do this learning plan this workshop every January. This is how I start the year. All the other workshops are different from year to year. But this one, one of the newer pieces is AI. So, but let me just backtrack. So I gave you a link to this learning checklist, and you may wish to download it. Once you download it, you can check off the things that really speak to you. So let me know in the chat, for example, a really telling one is podcasts. So yes or no? Podcasts usually are quite divisive. Some people love them. Other people are like, no, 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 no. So what do you think? Do you like podcasts? Do you not like podcasts? So Philippa likes them. Okay. What about other people? So this is, oh, we've got some yeses. So Anne loves them. Miriam, no. Okay. So this is a way to really customize this plan for you by understanding how you learn best. If you don't like podcasts, then don't have that part of your learning plan. I just am looking at the comments here, make sure I got it. Oh, Claudia says, for some learning, I love have a learning partner. It helps me to be driven, be accountable. Okay, that's a great example of affiliation, right? And other people might be like, the autonomy people will be like, doesn't work for me. So I love that you know that about yourself, Claudia. That's great. Okay. Sagar is saying more for inspiration than learning. Nice. So combo. Chris is saying it depends on the topic. Philosophical questions are very interesting when addressed in a podcast. Nice. Okay, so you've got that worksheet, and I strongly encourage you to really think about your preferred ways of learning and to really look at different ways, right? I'm going to give you an example from my learning plan from last year, but really mix those ways up, right? It doesn't have to be, sometimes we put chains around our thinking, right? A box around our thinking I can only go to a conference. That's the only way I can think. So really expand that. There's also, I mentioned, I'll include that link to the roundtable that I did on free, easy tech tools to make your learning more impactful, easier, and engaging. I gave you that example of Lunch Club. So that really works for affiliation people, for example. There's another app that I shared in there on hand. And then I shared, has anyone used yet an AI assistant? Uh, Oh, and Claudia's saying same, but I do love a good podcast that I can listen to while stuck in traffic. Yeah, and I love the specificity there. So if you said to me, Leanne, you need to sit still and listen to a podcast, I can't, my attention just wandered. But driving, I love when we're on long road trips, we're going on safari. Absolutely. I cue those podcasts up. Okay, so Phil, and I'm speaking specifically of an AI assistant. So I'm not talking about ChatGPT, for example. So in case you don't know, an AI assistant are particular tools that you load your content into, and it only deals with that content. So it's not searching the web, it's only working on that content. So let me know, have people used an AI assistant? So this is new in this year's Learning Plan Roundtable. Okay, so Maria, so Otter, I'm not sure that Otter is an AI assistant, how I'm meaning it. Marcia's used one for daughter's biology exam. Nice, nice. Yes. So this is a great example. So the tool created a video and made to make sense out of the content. Joanna's saying no. Yes. So I put, sorry, this may be confusing. Joanna's saying no, she hasn't used, he, she, they hasn't used an AI assistant. I did put some options here. So I'll copy this again. So Natalie Choprasad is a fabulous person to follow. Uh, she does clips on all sorts of things AI related. So I've given 2 of her videos there and then a link to the tool that she's talking about. So this is a game changer. So these tools, so for example, I did a TEDx salon and I uploaded the video to the platform, the tool I was using, which was an AI assistant. And then I asked it to convert the video into text. So then I got the whole transcription. So far, we're just using like tools like Otter. So far, it's not super different. But then I can make all sorts of things. I can say, what are the main themes? What are the main topics? Quiz me on this, make a summary. And it's only looking at the content I tell it to look at. It's not searching the web. So yes, Notebook I think is one of them. It's called LM, I think, right? Google LM Notebook. That is an AI assistant. Yeah. And you can make AI assistants in ChatGPT, right? So you can make an AI assistant inside Chat. So this is a phenomenal new way to learn, right? Is using artificial intelligence, overall using tools like Chat. And if you want it to specifically focus on just your content, you can upload a few documents. So I'm creating for example, a community manifesto for my online membership program. So I uploaded the TED Talk. I uploaded 2 really key blog posts, and then I'm asking it to interact just with that content to help me work on this manifesto. Okay, how are you feeling? So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm just going to type this in the chat as well. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is thoroughly overwhelmed by AI, and 10 is I could teach a course. How are you feeling? Because I know AI can evoke strong emotions. Okay, we've got a 3, and there's no wrong answer here. However you're feeling is however you're feeling. While you're doing that, I'm just looking at, so Sagar is saying, do you know Descript? Just learning about it and curious to know more. Oh, I'm not sure I know that one, so I'm going to make a note. What I can do, thank you for sharing that, is I will share, because there seems to be some interest here. Remember I talked about Digo. Digo is the tool that bookmarks a ton of any online content you can bookmark. So I will share, in addition to sharing my Digo link for this overall workshop, I'll share my Digo link for tech tools, and you can see hundreds of tech tools that I've bookmarked. And I will add Descript if it's not there, Sagara. I have a DM here. So I'm not saying the person's name. For me, learning is overwhelming. I've said to myself, I'll learn to develop professionally and self-development wise too, and didn't work because I got so overwhelmed by the number of things I want to learn. I want to learn Mandarin for professional reasons, but I also want to learn French for personal development because I love it. So what are some things to learn in each category? Okay, fabulous question. I'm so, so glad to the person. My hat's off to you for being vulnerable and sending that question. It is, and I'm sure there's other people in the group that are feeling the same way. I would recommend 3 things. So I think one of your answers is already in your text, which is feeling overwhelmed because you want to learn so many things. So under your goals and objectives, under that section in the worksheet, maybe reduce those number of goals, right? Make the things that you want to learn, or have it multi-year. So I want to focus on this for the first part of the year, this for the second part of the year, and then this for, next year, for example. Then I strongly recommend you do the motivation survey and then motivate yourself accordingly, right? So really come up with a motivation and an accountability plan. And then the third thing is pick ways to learn that work for you. So I am working on my French and playing piano. And for me, apps are a godsend. So I use Simply Piano, and it's super, super simple. It explains everything. I don't have to leave the house. I don't have to match my schedule with the teacher. I can just use this app to practice. And then for French, I use Duolingo. And those things work because I'm very achievement focused. So one of my things is achievement. So that helps me I do it every day. Well, piano I haven't done as well lately, but Duolingo I do every day. And the app is just super helpful for me. So again, the person who wrote that, you may want to narrow down your goals and objectives, figure out your motivation style, and then figure out how you learn best. Okay, back to the AI. We've got 3, 5, 5, 3. Okay, 3. Okay. So possibly, I don't know if you're motivated to learn this or want to learn this, but maybe AI can be on your learning plan. I did a whole roundtable on AI, so I will also add that into the workbook as well. Okay. Marsha's saying 8. Very excited about it, and I really want to immerse myself in it. I feel like once you start to see a great tool AI can be, then you realize how it doesn't have to be scary. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. If you get one win with chat, or another AI tool, you can be off to the races. A simple way I'm using chat recently because I've been so busy is I tell chat what's in my fridge and the ingredients, and I say, please give me 5 meal options that meet these health requirements. We have some health issues in our home and are easy to make. Poof, there's dinner, right? And I'm not wasting food. It's easy, it's fast. And I've given chat the parameters, easy to make, use these ingredients, and it needs to fit these health requirements. Poof. Yeah, right, Cigar? Yeah. Okay, so let's go back here. So we have been talking about your preferred ways of learning, right? And again, you add this to the motivation and you add your preferred ways of learning, then you have a much more customized learning plan, right? This is what distinguishes it from, mere professional development and personal development. Okay, give me a thumbs up. Are you ready for the next section? We're just about done. You're doing wonderful. We've got 2 more sections to go, and then if you have any questions, please jump in. Okay, great. So the next section is this foundational piece of personal and or professional development. So think of it kind of a bit like a scaffold, and you get to choose not just what you need to learn and not just how you want to learn it, your preferred ways of learning, and how to motivate yourself and keep yourself accountable, but also how deep you want to learn it. Right? Now, what the heck do I mean by that? So if you look at this section, so sections 8, 9, and 10, is anybody familiar with the T theory in human resources? So I've adapted this from the T theory. Oh, okay. Someone's just DM'd me. So I won't say your name, but thank you for sharing. This is an AI assistant tool that they've shared. So I'm just adding it in there. And I'm going to add it to my list and I'll bookmark it. By the way, with my tech tools, I keep a huge list. Does that say study fetch or yeah, I guess fetch.com. I keep a big long list of tech tools and then I try one a week, right? So it makes it much more achievable than, oh, I've got to spend hours and hours and hours on this. Thank you to that person for sharing. Thank you. Okay, so you may have heard of this T theory in human resources. I've adapted it to be the letter I. So you can look at this from your perspective. So I, and also you may wish to look at it from your organization's perspective as well. But now, assuming that you've filled in all those other pieces when you're ready, when you've done that, now you can look at how deep do I want to learn those things? So the top of the letter I, so this part up here, right? These are things I need to know from my work or my role as a human being, if you're doing this for personal development, in a very broad way, right? It's not very specific. It's not very deep. Sorry, I should say it's not very deep, but I need to know a little bit about these things because of my role, because of my job, because of maybe you're trying to learn some parenting things, whatever. You don't have to become an expert, but you want to learn these things broadly. Then the column of the I, those are things you really want to take a deep dive into, right? You really want to either build on your expertise or become an expert in those areas. Right? So see the level of tailoring we're doing here. Think of like a fine custom Italian suit, right? This is getting really, really customized. And then the bottom of that eye, so the horizontal bar at the bottom, that's for things that I call these things to be human, right? So I believe, this is my bias based on the teams I work with, these are things like change management, communication, conflict resolution, creativity, etc. And I've just put a list of those things in the chat, as well as you can kind of play a fun little fortune teller game with those things at the link that I've shared there on my website. So again, the top are things that you need to know for your role professionally or personally, but not, just not super deep. You're not going to become an expert in them. The ones on the vertical piece, those are things either professionally or personally that you're going to build on your expertise, or you're on your way to becoming an expert in those areas. So deep, deep, deep knowledge. And then the bottom ones, those are skills for being human, right? So do you want to work on your collaboration skills this year? Do you want to work on your communication skills? What is calling you? Okay, let me pause there. Comments, questions before we do the last section? Is that making sense? Anything like, Leanne, this thing is just confusing. I don't get this thing. You can ask a question. You can DM me, or you can put it in the chat. Scar saying, where would you place intuition with human skills? Oh, you're speaking my language. So I have this tool. Oops. It's called Life Lenses, and I'll put that in I'll put it in your workbook as well. So it's a personality assessment that I've designed, and you can take it for free on my website, and it will focus you on what comes onto your radar easily, naturally, and comfortably, and what flies under your radar because it's awkward, foreign, difficult, not important to you, etc. And so there's 4 pairs of lenses. So there's 8 total. So the assessment will tell you which 4 are your strongest. And one of those lenses talks all about intuition. It's the focus of that. So if that's something you're interested in learning more about, you can take the Life Lenses assessment. You can also look at some recent, oh, you're welcome. You can also look at some of the recent brain body connection neuroscience, because we're learning a lot about how important intuition is, and feelings and emotions and all of that. So great question. Anything else before we go on to the last piece? We're closing in on the end of the workshop here. Or you can give me a thumbs up if you're ready to go on to the next one. The final piece here. So let me know if you have a question, or give me a thumbs up. Okay, I can see a thumbs up here. Okay, so this next one, some of you, I'm guessing, are going to go la 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 la, not important, don't, not on my radar. And other people will be like, this is fabulous, love this. So if this speaks to you, please feel free to use it. If you're like, Leanne, this is too detailed, don't worry about it. So this is the S.A.K.E tool that I talked about. And I was doing a workshop in Egypt with a bunch of international participants, and it was supposed to be a competency-based workshop. And the participant said to me, Leanne, if we don't have this competency, does it mean that we're incompetent? And I'm like, oh, that's such a great example. It's such a great comment. So out of that, I designed the S.A.K.E tool. And I use this tool, for example, when I'm teaching people how to teach. There's a lot of different ways to use it, but for today, we're going to focus on using it for your learning plan. So the S.A.K.Es stand for skills, attitudes, knowledge, and experience. So if you really want to take a deep dive into whatever thing you're wanting to learn, you may wish to examine it through each of these pieces. So let's just say we're looking at the brain-body connection and intuition and neuroscience. So that's a big amorphous thing. So how do we really know what we need to focus on? You can use the S.A.K.E tool. So what skills would you like to gain in that area? The attitude piece is all about mission, vision, and motivation, right? So how does this connect back into your vision? And how can you motivate yourself? The knowledge piece, someone at the very beginning said what they learn best is theory, right? So this is the theory, the research, all of that knowledge piece. And then the experience piece is putting it into action. So taking it out of the classroom, whatever the classroom is, doesn't have to be a formal classroom. So bringing it into real life, because maybe you have a skill, but if you don't practice that skill and being motivated and have the knowledge to go behind that skill, you're going to lose the skill. So you can put all of that, if you wish, on number 11 there, right? The S.A.K.E tool. And the numbers there, the 1 through 4 or 5 there, you can do that for each of your skills if you wish, or sorry, each of the things that you want to learn. Okay, so everyone take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. You did it. You made it through this dense worksheet. Dense as in it's got a lot of pieces to it. So let me give you an example, just kind of a overview, and then we'll open it up to questions, any final questions, and then we'll close for the day. So every year I pick an annual project. So and sometimes I do it for 2 years. So for 2 years, I practiced my watercolor painting and I made a gratitude card, like a little postcard, and I sent that postcard every week to someone that I was grateful for. Last year, I did a DEI, so diversity, equity, and inclusion learning project. So this was a big piece of my learning plan. And that's a huge topic, a huge topic. So every month, I picked a different theme that had to do with diversity, equity, and inclusion. So it could be gender, neurodiversity, racism, age, all of those things. And then my goal for the month was to listen to one podcast related to that topic, read one book, listen to some music. I think we can learn a lot from music lyrics, watch a movie, and then donate a little bit of money to a cause. So this really helped me and my motivation from, wow, learning more, adding to my expertise about DEI can feel overwhelming and I'm busy, I've got a lot on the go. So how do I do this? This made it much, very, very practical and pragmatic. And you can read, I've written 2 blog posts about it. I'm going to add a third, which is my actual learnings from it. But you can see all the books I read, all the podcasts and such. So I want to leave you as we finish with the worksheet, but before we close, with please give yourself grace and try to make it as simple and definitely make it as custom made to you as possible. So before we finish, these are all the things that we've talked about, why a learning plan is so important. We've gone over that worksheet in detail. We talked about the letter I and why that's so important. We went over the S.A.K.E, the skills, attitude, knowledge, and experience. And all of those things combined make this a tool to really, really custom fit your needs. Again, if you're a UN staff, I'll give you the link to sign in a second, but you can count this towards your annual professional development. And also in the workbook, you'll get access to all 12 years of resources. So let me just pause for a moment before we close. Any questions, any resources you want to add? to the mix? Anything confusing or not understood at this point? Questions or comments or resources? Sarah, wow. That's nice. Anything else? I really want you to feel supported so you can go take some time, carve some time out and finish your worksheet because you will not have had time to finish this all for sure. Okay, comments are coming in hot and heavy here. I'm so impressed with your generosity and graceful talk. Oh, thank you. Claudia, very clear and lots of valuable resources recommend. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Miriam, thank you. This was amazing. Thank you. Ah, that's great. Chris saying, how do you stand on actually taking time to learn something? Clarissa say more. You mean like how do you carve out time? I'm going to go on that assumption, and if you mean something different, then please add to the chat. Yeah, making time for learning. If you've ever seen that Eisenhower grid, it falls in the meaning in our busy times, it's hard to take the time. Yeah, absolutely. So learning falls in that quadrant that's hardest to get to, which is important but not urgent. So anything that's important but not urgent, like learning and strategy, things like that, are hard to make time for. So I would say a couple things. One is make it as pleasurable as possible, right? Make it into a learning habit. James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, great read if you really want to build that muscle. Know your motivation style so that it's not as hard to make time. Know what the ways you like to learn so that it is as pleasurable as possible. And then also know your, how would I say this? Like your time commitment. So I spend about 3 minutes learning French. Now, some people might say, Leanne, that is not enough time to learn a language. Well, 3 minutes every single day for almost 2 years now is better than, I don't know, 1 hour, every day, but then I stop for, after a week because it's too overwhelming. So think about experimenting with how can you get that learning in bites that fit you. So you might do everything from, I am going to do a learning retreat every year or, twice a week. I'm going to take 1 full day, or 2 full days to learn, through the continuum to, I'm going to do something for 2 or 3 minutes every day. I'm going to be on Duolingo learning French for, 2 or 3 minutes every day. Okay, Anne saying amazing resources. Thank you. Helen saying thanks so much for sharing a free learning. Oh, thank you. Okay, so as we go forward, we'll just finish up here. I mentioned to you, it's important to me to make the learning easy for you. So all of the resources you can find at this Diigo link. So any resource that's online that I used, you can click that link. And I do this for every roundtable. Every roundtable has its own Diigo link. I'm just reading a DM for someone about procrastination. Yeah, I would go back to that. Try to make it fit you as much as possible. Make sure your goals, you're not doing too many goals. Make sure you've got your preferred way of learning and know that motivation style. That motivation style is such a game changer. So I feel you. The person who DM'd me is unemployed and sounds like there's been some self-disappointment. So I hope some of these tools will help. Okay, normally at this point, I announce the winner. So I always really appreciate your feedback. So I always share this feedback link here, which I'll just put in the chat. And as a thank you, for sharing your feedback on the roundtable. I pull someone to win a free access to my Ban Boring online meetings course. But last in November, because we don't do a roundtable in December, people chose not to leave their names. So there was feedback, but no one left their name. So there's no winner this month. But please feel free to give me feedback. It's really important to me. And it also helps future participants in the roundtable. So feel free to fill that in. And if you want to win access to my How to Ban Boring online meetings, make sure you leave your name there. Once again, I would love if you would share this link, like right after our call ends, which is in 1 minute. Please share that link with 2 or 3 colleagues. I really love to grow this community. If you're a UN staff and you want to get this to count towards your annual professional development, the link is there to sign. And then I've given you all the dates for the rest of the year, including February's roundtable, which is February 20th. And it's how to have those difficult conversations that you're dreading. The PowerPoint deck will have just hit your inbox, so you'll have that there. And then on Monday, you will get the workbook, you'll get the PowerPoint again, you'll get audio and video recordings, and the video recordings are all time-stamped, so you can click ahead to the section that you want. And finally, thank you so much for your time. If you are interested in talking to me about doing a custom workshop for you and your team, please reach out. I will share in the, pardon me, in the workbook is a program catalog of all of the example workshops that I teach, and I would love to talk to you if there's something I can do to help you and your team in terms of team building, tech tools, or training of trainers. So thank you so much, everybody. Please, on the count of 3, everybody unmute and feel free to say goodbye in whatever language you want. So please unmute, everybody. Pardon me. Unmute, unmute, unmute. Great. And on the count of 3, you can say goodbye in whatever way you wish, in whatever language. 1, 2, 3.
Bye.
Goodbye. Bye.
Thanks so
مع
much,
السلامة.
everybody.
Thank you very much.